Hello, students. Welcome to CLAT Simplified. This is Siddharth Mehta, creator of CR Nuggets for Law exam. In today's video, I will be discussing the passage number 2 of English section that came in CLAT 2021. As you might be knowing, in this series, I am picking up the actual CLAT passages and discussing. So today we will be discussing passage number 2 of the actual CLAT exam. Let us begin. So this was the passage number 2. Of course, this is half part of the passage that you can see on your screen right now. You can stop your video and read it before moving ahead. Right. So this was screen number 1. This is the complete passage. This screen completes the passage. You can read it by stopping your video, and then I will be showcasing the entire passage in one slide and I will be discussing that. Right. So this is the passage. Now let me tell you what are these things in yellow and green. Okay. Now, whenever we read passage, our objective should be to do two things. One is to identify what is author trying to convey. What is his main idea? Why has he written the passage? So basically the main idea. That is part number 1. Second thing, what is the way in which he has organized his thought to arrive at the main idea? So these are the two things that you need to focus. If you can crack these two things in any passage, trust me, you have done your job. I mean, then there are several details which you cannot remember. You anyways have to go back and check the details. So that is why you can't remember everything, but your whole sole aim should be identifying the main idea and understanding the organization of the passage. Now, the things in yellow are the opinion of the author of this passage. That is the main idea part. Why the passage has been written. The things in green, very important to understand. Author has arrived to his main idea using these things in green, which are the views of some other people, the quotes of the great people, so on and so forth. Let us read the passage. I will not read it in its entirety, but just highlight you what are the key things. So first few lines of any passage are very, very important. Since long we have witnessed unimaginable level of success and failure of various projects, business, scientific missions, and even wars. For such triumphs and defeats emerges the much debatable thought: is planning and strategy more important than execution? So basically, right at the beginning, we get an idea that what the passage will talk about. The author has raised the question: is planning and strategy more important than execution? So what he will be doing is he will be answering this question. That is for sure. Right at the beginning, we have a question raised, and author will try to answer it. So this is view number 1 of few people. Some project leaders and their team are of view that planning leads to clarity of objective. It helps to set the timeline and budget. Now, here you also need to understand, once these words, some project leaders believe planning is more important, some project leaders believe is given, that clearly means this is not what author's own view is. Maybe if in further down the passage, he will say that some project leaders believe that that planning is not that important. That is what anticipation is. So, but here in the green, some project leaders believe that planning is important. It leads to clarity of objective. The entire second paragraph is about this. Then in the words of author has given a quote by Benjamin Franklin that failing to plan is planning to fail. So till here we know that planning is more important than execution. We move ahead, and then in yellow again, this is the author's view. Numerous entrepreneurs have faith that strategies help to enhance not only speed and quality of production but also consumer satisfaction. So here again, author is saying that planning is better, planning is important. Perhaps till here I can say that planning is more important than execution. The again, the things in green, they simply highlight the facts which author is trying to prove. Some of the world's best airport astronomical missions, again planning as important than execution. This is the important thing. However, there are some architects, artists, and entrepreneurs who prefer to dive straight from the board of ideas into the pool of execution. So this is what the author has now contradicted the earlier project leaders that who believe that planning is more important. Now here he is saying that there are few people, few architects, artists, entrepreneurs who like to get into execution rather than plan. So now he is talking about execution is important than planning. They believe that suitable strategies are best shaped. These are just the explanation of something of the thing that is being mentioned in green. Now again, he has quoted Steve Jobs here, that according to Steve Jobs, execution is more important than planning. Now, the next thing is, according to Bill Gates, unhappy customers are the greatest source of learning. So, a new element has been introduced. Till now, we were talking about whether planning is more important or execution. Till this point, nothing can be said. According to whatever is mentioned, nothing conclusive can be said that which is more important. Now, the new element about the unhappy customers is being mentioned. That unhappy customers are greatest source of learning. And then an example of Coke is has been mentioned here. Now, such type of examples, suddenly, if an example comes, this is very, very important. A question can be asked from this particular area. This is again anticipation in reading when from which part a question can be asked. If author has mentioned some great person's quote, if given some sudden example, question can be asked around that. So again, this is what happened with the Coke company and the example. Now, this is where the main idea or answer to the question that was first raised, is planning and strategy more important? Answer to that question lies here. Author is saying a balance of pragmatic planning, strategy, and execution is likely to ensure accomplishment. That means execution and planning both are important. Last line, think plans and strategies are the seed, execution is the nourishment, and consumer is the capricious weather. Right. So that is the entire passage about. Let us see. The first question is about the passage can be best termed as. Let us see. Expository. Now, what does expository means? Expository means discussing or putting forth an idea through a lot of evidences, talking in logical sense, explaining something, explaining an idea, explaining a theory, explaining a belief. That is expository. Descriptive is description of a particular thing. So both A and B looks good here. Abstract, this is definitely not abstract. Abstract is something which is very vague in nature. Narrative, this is not narrative in nature. Narrative is more of storytelling or describing a particular experience. So that is narrative. So it has to be between expository and descriptive. Now, if we analyze the passage carefully now, so what author has done, this is the question from organization of the passage. He has raised a question, then he has given views of few people and some project managers and evidences to support that. Then he has given the other side of the coin, and the views to support that, and then he has introduced another element and explained it. So this is not descriptive, this is expository. This is expository. He has put forth an idea and discussed it, analyzed it in length. The author's main purpose is to, now we know that author's main purpose is to understand which of the two is more important, planning or strategy, right? So let us see. Suggests that people succeed only when they have great strategies. No. This is a rotten word. He has actually said that both are important. If you remember, a balance of pragmatic planning, this both are important. Highlight the fact that execution is as indispensable as planning and strategy. Perfect. This looks the right answer, but let us look at C and D. Illustrate the impact of poor planning and weak strategy. This is not the main purpose here. Definitely, this is true as per the passage, but the main purpose is not this. This is true but irrelevant. The question doesn't ask me this. Highlight the hurdles that come in the way of execution. Again, may be true, but not what question is asking. The main purpose is why has he written something and what is the key conclusion that he's trying to derive. That is in the option number B. Next, from the failure of New Coke, the company learned that. So, as I said, question can be asked from this area. So, what was the learning of the company? If you read this particular section, you will get the answer. Tested and tried strategies are essential for success. Look at this extreme word. Never mark the options which are extreme in nature until and unless, of course, in the paragraph it is mentioned. So, nowhere it is mentioned that they are essential for success. Surveys and data calibration are a sheer waste of time. Look again how extreme this option is. Can't be the answer. Consumers change brand preferences too frequently. Maybe changes in consumer habits should not be taken for granted. Okay. Now let us see the example. What is being mentioned here? Much to the company's dismay, the product did not take off as expected and the financial loss was enormous. The company realized that during the process of data collection, it had not considered the product loyalty and old-fashioned habits of the consumers. So the answer should be option number D. Again, we cannot say if you read it properly, we cannot say that consumers change brand preferences too frequently. Out of the available four, D is the best choice. So the next is for the accomplishment of a project is Steve Jobs. So the question is around what Steve Jobs has said. So Steve Jobs has said to me, ideas are worth nothing unless executed. Execution is worth millions. So according to the Steve Jobs, it is execution which is important. The options ask me to compare what his approach is or what his belief is with respect to Benjamin Franklin. Remember, Benjamin Franklin says that failing to plan is planning to fail. So according to Benjamin Franklin, it is the plan, and according to the Steve Jobs, it is execution. So answer cannot be A because both the beliefs are different. Suggest an approach that is different from Benjamin Franklin. Yes, this looks the right answer. Let's look at C and D. Believes that main control is in the hand of consumers. This was what Bill Gates said, so not Steve Jobs. None of the above. So answer is option number B. The dash in the consumer is the capricious weather refers to the demands of the customers. So what is it? Onomatopoeia, simile, metaphor, or anaphora. Now, onomatopoeia is a word that is formed from the sound of something that it is naming. So, for example, words like crash, bang. So, when the door closes, we say it made the sound bang. So, bang is a word also and it represents the sound also. So, that is onomatopoeia. So, definitely A is not the answer. Simile is comparison of two things, but in simile, you will find like word is, like, like or as so such kind of words. Metaphor is also a comparison of two things, but in metaphor you will not find words as like or as. So this looks like a metaphor. Anaphora is repetition of same letter or word in each of the phrases that comes in a line. So this is definitely not anaphora also. Answer is option number C. This is a metaphor, and it also, wavering word also goes with capricious. Capricious weather means something which is not fixed. So that's why answer should be option number C. So that is it from my side. I hope that you have learned how to solve various type of questions. And the more important thing is what are the areas that you need to focus on when reading a passage. Thank you very much.